Do you know who the biggest liar and fake in all of the world is? And I've been wanting to make a video about this. Some of the first videos I saw on YouTube were videos talking mad shit about this guy, and I've been wanting to do this for such a long time, but I've accidentally waited so long that he has become an idol of mine. He's the original John Wick, a man who is talented in not only the arts, but also guns and hand-to-hand combat, martial arts, a master of all arts. A man so mysterious, not even he himself knows where he comes from. From drug busts with the police to rubbing elbows with the president of the Russian state, the man is truly an enigma of our time. His name is Steven Frederick Seagal. Who the fuck is that? And it is quite literally impossible to separate fact from fiction in the story of Steven Seagal. Born to Patricia Ann Fisher and Samuel Seagal in Lansing, Michigan on April 10th, 2005. That's right, guys. He's Gen Alpha. Just kidding. He was born in 1952, so he's 72. He's 72 years old. He actually looks pretty good for being 72. His father was a modern day genius and a math teacher. He taught elementary school math, and his mother was a medical technician. His grandparents immigrated from Russia, and they would have a huge impact on him. My father comes from Vladivostok. We have family from Serbia. We have family from Belarus. Family from, apparently, St. Petersburg. So we just recently got the result of recent DNA check, discovered genetically Buryat mixed with Yakutian people. Dude, this guy is fucking awesome. But what about other clips, though, that say different things? Put a different clip that he's like Mongolian. Put the Mongolian clip in there.
I'm a Russian Mongol.
For example, my grandmother, who surely looks pure Mohawk.
My mother was a Mohawk.
He was 5 when he moved to Fullerton, California, I guess from Russia. He also went to Fullerton College. He went from 1970 to 1971. He dropped out. The reason he didn't stay in Fullerton College long was because at the age of 22, he moved to Japan to study martial arts. Just kidding. It was to avoid being drafted into the Vietnam War. Allegedly, I don't really know. That's the alleged reasoning. It's convenient timing, to be honest. You can't just go to Japan, by the way. He was able to do this because he met his first wife, Miyako Fujitani, in California in 1974 and moved to Japan with her in October of that year. He's like, while in Japan, Steven Seagal had 2 children, a son named Kentaro and a daughter named Ayoko. He would also teach at his father-in-law's Aikido dojo, guys. Pretty crazy stuff. His wife Miyoko was the daughter of an Osaka Aikido master who moved to the US to teach and open his own dojo. And while teaching at the dojo, Seagal would also earn his black belt in the Aikido discipline. This is like the master martial art. It's the ultimate martial art. I mean, listen to the way this man talks about it.
It wasn't until I was probably 16 or 17 before I started getting dangerous enough that if people wanted to start something that they even, if they were bigger and better, they were going to get hurt too.
This is impressive. He's teaching, he's learning. He also would claim that he was a student of the creator of Osaka Aikido, Morihei Ueshiba. However, this is not possible. Ueshiba died in 1969 when Steven Seagal was 17 years old. That was 5 years before he moved to Japan. This is one of the earliest instances of Steven Seagal just being a pathological liar to bolster his achievements in his life. And this is something that I love about him, and quite literally the only reason I'm making this video, because I've never seen someone lie so much. He's like Todd Howard, but for shit that's not fun and whimsical. So Todd gets away with it, all right? Todd gets a pass in my book.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Furthermore, and to really embarrass him, his wife once did an interview saying the only reason why Steven earned his black belt the day that he earned it was because the judge who judged him that day was very lazy and fell asleep during his presentation and just gave him the belt afterwards. That's awesome. Another lie that Steven Seagal has repeatedly told is that he helped train CIA agents in Japan. He claims that they had seen and knew of his abilities, and they agreed to let him help them train. These guys were my students. They saw my abilities, both with martial arts and with the language. You can say that I became an advisor to several CIA agents in the field, and through my friends in the CIA, I met very many powerful people and did special works and special favors.
But there's an interesting group of folks that, are kind of some in the shadows and some in the light, and I was friends with all those guys for a long time.
Once again, Steven Seagal's wife, that bitch, refuted these claims. Seagal also claimed that he fought off Japanese Yakuzas, His wife refuted that as well.
I grew up in a very, very dangerous area, an area that was all gangsters, yakuza, fighting every day.
Stop the cap.
The Yakuza of Fullerton, California. Steven didn't stay in Japan for very long. He had a dream to become a movie star. He moved back to America, and he used his wife's income to fund this dream. His biggest hater, honestly, his wife.
Shut up, bitch!
He was so adamant about returning to the US that he withheld basic necessities from his wife and kids so they could save money to leave Japan. Pretty awesome. But eventually he got what he wanted and moved to the celebrity epicenter of Taos, New Mexico in the early 1980s. He moved back with one of his students, Craig Dunn. They opened a dojo, but Steven Seagal was trying to be a movie star and he wasn't present in the dojo much. Then Seagal went back to Japan and then went back and opened a dojo in North Hollywood. This dojo he left one of his students in charge of and also would eventually fail. Seagal failed and failed and failed, saw some success in martial arts, and then finally in 1987, he was a part of his first film, Above the Law.
You're above the law. You ain't above mine.
Above the law.
Oh my gosh, he's a legend. This movie pretty much launched his career. It had decent reviews and he appeared in 3 more films very closely after that. Hard to Kill, a good film that I used to love as a child. I've seen all these movies. Marked for Death, Out for Justice. This is also the first time we see Steven Seagal run, which is a huge part of his career. I don't know how you run like this. Like, how do you even start that? How does that even happen? His whole message, his whole influence online, as far as I can remember, is him running. I mean, that's like the main thing. It's funny. Look at the way he runs. The guy runs weird. This guy's like, who's the red-haired guy? This guy's like Chuck Norris for, I don't know. I said a different word, but I can't say it. So this guy's like Chuck Norris for cave dwellers. All of his movies had mediocre receptions. They weren't flops, they weren't failures, but they did okay. He eventually hosted an episode of SNL in 1991.
I hope you'll forgive me for being a little bit serious, but it's important to me to let you know that there's a lot more to Steven Seagal than the martial arts.
And usually this is a massive achievement, like it's like a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Like, it's a huge deal. But it was a nightmare for him and also the actors. And Steven Seagal, as a result of this appearance, is considered to be one of the worst, if not the worst, SNL host, literally of all time. It was so bad that it was scrubbed entirely from the internet.
I think Dougie here needs a soda.
He didn't like any of the jokes written for him, according to Tim Meadows, Lorne Michaels, and David Spade. He had a terrible sense of humor.
And Seagal's an idiot, in addition to everything else, and has no sense of humor, in addition to everything else.
Oh, Christ.
Great fit for the
Yeah.
show.
And so
Perfect.
he goes, he literally does this. He says, I have an idea for a sketch.
Oh, dear.
Okay. Okay, so I'm a psychiatrist, and Victoria, that's Victoria Jackson, comes in, and I'm her psychiatrist, and I hypnotize her, and I have sex with her. And then at the end, I tell her she's got to come back every week.
He also outright refused a certain skit because the main character had previously said that they could beat Seagal up.
I was helping with Hans and Franz that week. Yeah, I didn't usually help with that piece, but I love those guys. And Seagal read it, and he said, "If I do this sketch, if I do it," and they want to fight him. Hey, we'll take you on. He goes, "If I do it, I have to beat them up."
The guy has the most fragile ego. It's incredible.
Do you know Van Damme?
No.
You've heard of him, right? I mean, he was like a champion somewhere.
I think that that's a matter of opinion, that he was a champion anywhere. You know.
So stupid. He's such a fucking liar, dude.
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude.
So the SNL thing was bad. In 1992, he acted in a movie called Under Siege, and it was basically Die Hard on a battleship, and it was a box office success. It made $120 million in profit, and it's been called one of the best movies of the 1990s, which is not true, but I do like the movie. I do. There's a lot of good movies in the 1990s. Right after this, he directed his own film called On Deadly Ground. Failure. Then came the peak of his career in the mid-1990s, Under Siege 2: Dark Territory. It was more successful than the first. From there, it was all downhill. I don't know why these movies were so successful. I like Hard to Kill better. After this point, film became terrible for Seagal, and it was just failure after failure after failure. The Macho Man routine wouldn't last very long. After the second Under Siege, it was legitimately all downhill from there. Up into the 2000s, there's nothing of memory that he had, really. Maybe Exit Wounds came out in 2001. That could be a movie that some people would say would be, you know, okay, but he's a run-of-the-mill action star. The dude's a fucking B actor. He's terrible. And from 2003 to 2016, he starred in 20 direct-to-DVD films with titles like Black Dawn, Belly of the Beast, Kill Switch, Pistol Whipped, Against the Dark, A Dangerous Man, Born to Raise Hell. Yeah! In 2009, Steven Seagal would get his own TV show called Steven Seagal Lawman, and it was Deputy Seagal hunting down criminals. It's pretty funny. He was actually a commissioned deputy in Louisiana and New Mexico, which that's not that hard, to be honest, but he's just doing random side quests. I guess the whole acting thing didn't work out, unfortunately for him.
You know, being a lifelong practitioner of martial arts, I try to teach everyone not to fight the recoil of the weapon, but more to become one with the weapon and let it be an extension of their body.
Steven Seagal only played in action movies. He's got pretty good martial arts skills, but he's a master in Aikido as well as another martial art, and that is called Bullshido. And like we already went over, we know that Steven got his black belt in the 1970s due to his hard work and discipline, and not what his bitch wife said, that he earned his black belt in 1978 due to a judge who was known for their laziness. That's not real. This man carries a legacy of modern martial arts. Look at this. Look at him. He seems like a dangerous... There's no way you could get a punch in there. It wouldn't be possible to get a punch in there. What is Aikido? Like, I have respect for all martial arts, but that seems like fucking nonsense, dude. Any martial artist that isn't in like in MMA or something like that, it's not real.
Shut up, bitch!
Mike Tyson would go in there and destroy everyone. Mike Tyson, when he was 15 in the Olympics, would destroy every single Aikido expert of all time. Like, there's no way that anything else would happen. Anyways, wow, look at this. He's knocking down people who, his aura's so strong, he'd be like, look, an MMA fighter fighting an Aikido master. Back to the Bullshido. That's really where things kick off with his 4 black belts and that. Look at this.
See that?
It's like a bird taking off.
Punches, just like a bird taking off.
Oh,
Immediate.
wow.
Just it's effortless.
Yes.
You don't see it. One minute he's here, the next minute he's in the air.
Wow. I love his hair. His hair is like placed on his head now. I think he has his head, maybe his hairline was receding or something like that, and he got new hair implanted while he was in Turkey or something. Look at this guy's abilities though. I mean, surely he can defend himself. He's throwing people, all this stuff. Actually, no. According to Gene LaBelle, Steven Seagal told him that it was impossible to choke him out, so he choked him out and he shit himself. Apparently, that's like a huge thing. Huge, crazy. He pooped himself. He shit himself. That's really awesome. How will you ever be able to disprove that? Now that is funny, but also I would never want to cross this guy. Look at what Piers Morgan asked him.
Still fight?
Yes, I do.
You still dangerous?
Let me tell you this, the guys that I'm training in UFC, you know, some of them have gotten their championship belts, world championship belts, because they've attributed that to me and me teaching them, so I still know a thing or two.
Do you realize how embarrassing that is? Like, do you realize how embarrassing? That is so embarrassing. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's incredibly embarrassing. How about the story of him being brought in by law enforcement when he was a genius guy to do some drug busts? Check out this. He stands around. It lets everybody else do the work. Aikido ain't gonna do shit when you're facing people with guns and knives and weapons, actual weapons.
Inside of the apartment, there's supposedly a .45 caliber gun. That's in a bedroom. That's all the way in the back.
A .45 caliber gun. I don't think that's gonna work. They call this guy Chief Seagal.
Long gun. Chief Seagal going to be third, and the rest of the crew can follow in however we see fit.
He's like 75 years old. He's like a 75-year-old man there. I don't have nothing, man. He put it in his throat. Shut up, dipshit. Then they go to look for the narcotics, and check this out, guys.
Which could be kind of hidden in plain sight. They looking to miss you?
Wow.
Well, these boys not playing, huh? Man, that's a lot of crack cocaine, boy.
I like his Louisiana accent. That's pretty cool. I also like his Jamaican accent. You guys ever heard the song Me Want the Punani? Oh my gosh. Also him playing the guitar. That's really embarrassing. It's crazy that this guy's a musician. He thinks he's a musician. He's like master of one is not a master of none or whatever the f. I don't know what the f. It's just everything he does is really embarrassing. And to be honest, the guitar is okay. The guitar is okay.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
He can't sing. He's just like Steven Seagal. Embarrassing. So anyways, now on to just lie after lie after lie. He is a giant fraud. This guy sucks. He's not respected in Hollywood, which that's probably good, to be honest. I wouldn't want to be respected in Hollywood, but he's also not respected in the fighting world. He's pretty much not respected anywhere. Maybe in Russia? I don't know. Russia likes him. Liam Neeson hates him. I like Liam Neeson. George Foreman hates him, and George Foreman loves everybody. Bob Odenkirk hates him. Better Call Saul, what the f. There's also this whole video, Juliana Margulies. She thinks that Steven Seagal is a predator.
He was a predator, Steven Seagal, who picked young up-and-coming actresses who were desperate to get their SAG card and have an acting career.
So yeah, I mean, that's not, there's a lot to that. The rabbit hole goes very deep, and I just kind of wanted to keep it lighthearted in this video, but it's really bad. He's a piece of shit. Massive, massive piece of shit. Just every single thing you could predict that an massively insecure, egomaniacal, pathological liar who likes martial arts and action stars in the 90s, everything you could predict that guy might say, the biggest diva of all time, that's what he says. What do you think about Jean-Claude Van Damme? Who? Never heard of him. What the f? He's a gravy seal. He's a gravy seal. Tip of the spear, you know. It's Green Berets, the gravy seals. Me wanda punani.